Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to make a Java project in Netbeans. This is for total beginners. So I'm in Netbeans right now, and I'm going to go to New Project, and we're going to select Java under Categories and Java Application on the project, hit Next, and give it a project name. I'm going to call this Compound Vidi. You're going to select a location where you want to save the project. I have the Java projects folder selected on my desktop, and main class. You want this box to be checked because you want Java to create a main class for you, which is going to be based on your project name. And you can actually name it what you want, but we'll leave it like this. Hit finished, and now you're in your window right here, and you can see package compound vidi, public class compound vidi, public status void main string args will be created by Java as well. This is where most of your code will go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to scan input from the user when the user types in input from when Java asks them a question. So you need to import a scanner to do that. And to do this, we're going to click right here where it says compound vidi, hit enter, and we're going to type import java.util.capital S scanner, and then you end this with a semicolon. Now, something that's important with Java is every single line ends with a semicolon. If you forget to put the semicolon, then you'll get an error message. Java is very picky about that. So now that we imported our scanner, you're going to go down to where it says public static void main string args, and let's just erase this. This is just a comment. Anything where that has two slashes and you can type whatever, that's a comment. That's not included in the code. Alright, so we'll erase that, and we're going to make a compound interest rate calculator. So we're gonna have to define a few variables. Variables are what information will be scanned into from when the user types stuff. So I'm going to create a double. A double is a number with a decimal point. So it could be 9.2 or 5.55, something like that. That's a double. So you type double, and I'm going to call this P, which is going to be for the principal amount, and you need to initialize it. So I'm going to initialize it to 0.0. Then I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to make a double, another double, called R, which is going to be for the interest rate. We're going to initialize this as 0.0. Remember always to end it with a semicolon. And now we're going to do an int. An integer is just a whole number. So 7 or 8 is an integer, but 4.5 is not an integer, right? So by doing an int, I'm forcing the user to do a whole number. If they try to put a double in, it'll crash the program. So int t for time equals, and you need to initialize it 0. So it's equal to 0. Then I'm going to do another double. Well, you know what? I'll do an int for this. It's going to be annual addition. So AA equals 0. All right, so I just initialize that. And then we'll have double profit equals 0.0. Initialize that. And we're going to create something called a string. A string is when the user types something. So hello, my name is Mud would be a string. So it'll say the user types that. So string go equals, you're just going to initialize it to nothing really. Well, actually, you know what? Go will initialize to yes. So put quotes and type the word yes. That's what go is going to be initialized to. And then we're going to have string keep going equals quotes yes. And put your semicolon. Now we want to create a scanner. So we imported the scanner utility, but now we want to create a scanner object. So capital S C-A-N, type scanner, and then I'm going to give it a name of scan. So this scanner object is named scan equals new capital S scanner, and you're going to put parentheses capital S system dot in, and then of course you end it with the semicolon just as you always do. Now I'm going to hit enter a couple times and give myself some space right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something called a while loop. Well, yeah, you know what, I'll do that right now. So this while loop, what I want to happen is I want the user to be able to continually rerun the program over and over so long as they type a certain parameter. So let's set this up right now. While parentheses go dot equals parentheses quote yes. Now go is the string that we just created right here. So while this equals yes, which it does right now, this program is going to run. So now what we do is you put a squiggly bracket or a curly bracket, as a lot of people call it, right there, and you hit enter. And you're going to notice that when you type something, this is indented inside the while statement. This is good practice. Now, if I wanted to, I could put it right here, right? But having it indented in the while statement lets me know that all this code that I'm about to type is running within the while statement. And when I hit enter after typing the curly bracket, Netbeans automatically added an ending curly bracket right here because the while statement needs to end somewhere. And it ends at that ending curly bracket. So now we're going to start taking in the user's information. So we're going to ask them a question. I'm going to type system with a capital S, System.out.print, parentheses, quote, enter, let's see if I can spell right today, principal amount. And the end quote is automatically generated by Netbeans. Put a semicolon, hit enter, and then you're going to do P equals scan, which scan is the scanner that we created. All right, scan dot, you're going to type next double and parentheses and then semicolon, because P, where's P? P is a double, so you're looking for the user to enter a double. Now I'm going to save this, and if I just click the run button, which is right here, the little play button, it's going to ask me to enter the principal amount, and I'm going to type whatever, and then that's the, and it's just going to keep doing this actually because I have this in a while loop. So I'm going to give us a bad input to crash the program to get me out of that while loop. So next we want to, so basically when it asked me to enter the principal, when I typed in the number and hit enter, it entered that info into the variable P. That's what just happened there. All right, so let's hit enter. Well, matter of fact, I'm actually going to put ln right there. So print ln. Now what this is going to do is it's going to print on a new line. So let's hit play again. And now when I hit the principal, you see it's down here. So on a new line. And if I give us a bad input, we'll crash the program on purpose, since I have it in a while loop. It's okay, so now hit enter. I'm going to hit enter twice to give, I like giving space. It's good to give yourself some space. We're going to do the same thing, system.out print ln, so it's on a new line. Let's see, quote, enter annual addition amount. And we end this line with a semicolon, and then we just do the same thing. It's going to be AA for annual addition because int AA equals, that's the annual addition, right? So AA equals scan dot next int. Now, why are we doing int? Well, AA is an integer. So now we hit enter a couple more times. And we do another System.out.print. In fact, I'm actually just going to copy and paste this just to make this go a little bit quicker. So copy and paste that. And the next one we have is the rate. And rate is what? It's a double. So we're going to change that to the word double. Hit enter a couple times. And we're going to copy and paste this in. And matter of fact, let's change this. Enter interest rate. I don't even know if I spelt that right, but whatever. And now we have time. So enter length of time to invest. And time is T. And is time an int? I don't remember if time... Did we even do a time? Okay, int time. Okay, so you see right here, int time equals 0. So I want to scan the next int, which is time. Okay? So now, let's hit enter a couple times. We have all of our variables scanned. And if I hit play, it's going to say enter principal amount, 1200. Type 1200, hit enter. Enter annual addition, type 1000, hit enter. Enter interest rate, hit 4. Length of time to invest 10, and it's going to keep asking me over and over because I'm in a while loop. I'll give it some bad input and crash the program on purpose. And we're going to take care of that in the end, don't you worry. Okay, so now we have our interest rate, but is that really the interest rate? If I just type 4, am I really getting, is that really 4%? Well, no, 4% is 0.04. So what we need is the real interest rate. So let's create another variable called double. We're going to call this real rate. This is going to equal the rate, which is R, times, that's what the asterisk means, 0.01. So if I type 4 under the variable R, it's going to multiply 4 by 0.01 and give me 0.04, which is the actual interest rate that I want to use in the program. So now let's hit enter a couple more times, and we're going to do our first computation basically. So double equals double total, we're going to call it, equals P times 1 plus real rate. Now what did I just do here? Well, the first year's profit is total. That's your principal times the interest rate. Now why am I doing 1 plus real rate? Because the interest rate is 0.04. And if I had $100 for the principal and times it by 0.04, that would give me $4. But $4 is not the actual profit that I'm getting. The profit is going to be the principal times 1.04. Okay, the principal times 1.04 is $104 if I had an interest rate of 4 with a principal of $100. That's where the 1 plus comes from. And now we're going to do System.out.print, and we're going to do quote total amount is, and space, end the quote, make a plus, and then you're going to output total, which is this variable right here. And if I end this with a semicolon, I save it, and if I hit run, okay, we're going to enter a bunch of stuff. Enter principal amount 1,000, annual addition 1,000, interest rate is 10, years invested 10. Well, the total amount is $1,100 after 1 year, and it looks like I spelled something wrong here. Total amount is, oh, okay, yeah, because it says enter principal because it's starting again. Okay, so we're going to hit F and just give it bad input. And we're going to put this on a new line too. So hit LN for, see, LN means new line, okay? Remember that. It's good to typically put LN in the System.out.print statements. Now we're going to start doing the other years. So hit enter a couple times, and we're going to create a new variable, int I equals 1. Okay? I is typically used as an incrementer, which is what we're going to use in this while loop that we're going to create. So I'm going to make another while loop. I just hit enter a couple times to give myself some room. While parentheses I is less than time. Okay, so let's just say time is 10 years. You enter 10 for t, which is time. Then while I is less than time, this while loop is going to run. We're going to put our squiggly bracket, and when we hit enter, another squiggly bracket is created right here, and the code is automatically indented, which is what we want. So now total, which we already defined total, double total, so this is already defined, equals, going to put this in parentheses, total plus AA, because now for year 2 we're adding our annual addition, whatever that's going to be, and we're going to multiply this times, which is what the asterisk is, 1 plus real rate. Okay, so we're multiplying that times the interest rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to compute the total, which will be the total plus the annual addition, times 1 plus the real interest rate, so 1.04 or 1.10, whatever we decide to enter for an interest rate. And then you hit enter, and I is going to equal I plus 1. And put your semicolon. And then you hit enter, and System.out.print. In matter of fact, I'm going to leave this the wrong way for now, just to show you what it will look like if you don't do a new line. So System.out.print, total is space, then you do your plus, and you put total, which is the variable right here, is what you want to output, and we'll hit, we'll do our semicolon, and let's just run this. See, what's going to happen is this. It's going to run through this while loop. It's going to add the annual addition to the total plus the rate. Then it's going to add 1 to I. So now I would be 2. Then it's going to print this. It's going to go through the while loop again. Add this up. It's going to add 1 more to I. So I would be 3. And then it's going to print this. And eventually I is going to equal t. And this condition, while I is less than t, no longer evaluates to true, so the while loop breaks. That's what's going to happen. And this is going to print kind of funny looking because I did this wrong on purpose. So I'm entering my info, and you see, look at this. So total is this, total is that. So it printed it on one line. Now why did it do that? Well, obviously because I didn't put LN right here for new line. So LN, now it's going to print on a new line. So when we run this, enter principal amount, and I spelled enter wrong, by the way, 1,000, and we're going to do 4,000 for the annual addition. Interest rate is 4 times 10 years. Now look at that. Total amount is for the first year. Here's the total amount for the second year, the third, the fourth. And this should be 10 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if I did I equals 0, we'd have 11 years here because it would run through this one more. But since I already equals 1, it's 1 closer to t, which means that it's 1 closer to the condition evaluating the false. So now we have this right here. Now let's do a total profit. So I'm going to hit enter a couple times. I'm going to hit backspace. I want to get out of this while loop. So I no longer want to be nested in that while loop. Let's hit enter again, give myself some more space and go up. So now that we're done with this while loop, I'm going to say I equals 1. I equals I minus 1. And I forget. Okay, I had to scratch my head. Semicolon. Okay, that fixed that. So now profit equals. Now remember, we already defined the variable profit. I think should be right here. Double profit. So you have to define all your variables. Remember that. Profit equals total minus P, which is the principal, because we're going to subtract that time plus AA times I. And put your semicolon. And then we're going to do enter System.out.print ln parentheses quote total profit is, and then we're going to hit the plus profit. So we're going to print the variable profit. And now when we do this, this is still running. Okay, give it bad input, crash the program. Okay, now let's run this again. Whatever that number is, that looks like a big number. 10. Okay, so and it's just going to keep on going because we're in the while loop. It's an infinity while loop. So let's try to break this. There we go. Okay, so let's stop this from running. Yes. Okay, so now I have my while loop is still going. So let's hit enter a couple times. Now let's give a condition that can break this while loop that we're in here. So System.out.print ln parentheses quote. I'm going to put to continue type yes. And then we're going to put our semicolon. And then we're going to do keep going. Remember the variable keep going? Keep going equals scan dot next. There's no reason to put next string or anything when you're scanning for a string. And now we're going to do an if-else statement. All right? So if, now this is when the user can enter something. You don't know what they're going to enter. So if the user enters this, then do this. If they enter that, then do that, basically. So if keep going dot equals, and then you do parentheses yes, and then give me a squiggly bracket. When you hit enter, another squiggly bracket is created right there to close this. Then go equals quote yes. Now what is the significance of this? Well, let's go back up to the top. While go dot equals yes. You see that? While go equals yes, this program runs. So if the user types yes, then go equals yes. So now we're going to go to the squiggly bracket that ends this if statement and hit enter. We're going to type else. Okay, else squiggly bracket enter. Here's our closing squiggly bracket created for us. Go equals something other than yes. It could be null, for example. And then we end this. So now when we run this program, I'm going to show you what's going to happen. Enter principal amount. You'll spell principal right when you do it. All right. Rate is 3. Time to invest is 10. So we have our oh, okay. Yeah, we have an issue here, of course. Let me fix this. Actually, I see what happened. All right, let's gonna do this again. Okay, cancel that. All right. So we didn't close. This while loop is right here is not closed. So now, I equals this again. Let's close this. I don't know what happened to my squiggly bracket. I must have put that in the wrong space. So now that while loop is closed. Now we're going to have too many squiggly brackets. So let's get rid of one. All right. Now let's try this again. So this while loop is now closed. Here's my squiggly bracket. Type enter, run rather. Type your info in 10, 10. Okay, so here's all your totals. So you got your total profit. Now to continue, type yes. If I type yes, program starts over again. I can put new information in, right? And I can see what I'll get if I do something different. So type yes now. If I type anything else, the program quits. So I could put to continue, type yes or any key to quit. So what's happening is when I type anything other than yes, go equals null. See that right here? Go equals null if I type something other than yes. And if go equals null, then this evaluates to false and the program no longer runs. Okay? That's what's going on there. Now, this is my video that I wanted to do on Java. I'm hoping that this will give a beginner a good overview. You need to define all of your variables. Here's how you do a while loop that will keep the program running until the user types something that they don't want to run. This is how you scan input and print out information right here. A while loop to print profit for the length of time that you're investing, and if-else statements to determine whether the program continues going or not. Hopefully this helps a beginner out. If so, subscribe. I'll be doing more tutorials on this and other subjects. Thank you for watching.